bone reabsorption of calcium, and the bones become fragile and liable to bending and fracture, as you see now. Hyposecretion of parathormone, hypoparathyroidism, leads to decrease in the calcium level in the blood, painful convulsions, and muscle spasms as a result of decrease of calcium in the blood, increased instability of the nervous system. Now we are going to study other gland. It is the adrenal gland or suprarenal gland, or another name, emotional gland. The two glands, as you see now on the picture, each locates above one of the two kidneys. Each gland consists anatomically and physiologically of two regions, an outer cortex and an inner medulla. Hormones of the cortex. Three groups of hormones are secreted from the cortex. Glucocorticoids, to the first one, includes cortisone and corticosterone, the main function of which is to regulate carbohydrate, glucose metabolism in the body. Mineralocorticoids. It includes aldosterone, which plays an important role in mineral metabolism and balance in the body. This hormone increases reabsorption of sodium and increases the excretion of potassium from the kidney tubules. 6 hormones. Although the main source of 6 hormones are the testes in male and ovaries in females, these hormones are also secreted from the adrenal cortex. The male 6 hormones is testosterone, and female 6 hormones are estrogen and progesterone. You can observe the chemical structure now on the screen. Testosterone and progesterone and estrogen as well. Tumors or any condition which leads to the disturbance in the balance secretion of adrenal cortex and results in the increase in the level of 6 hormones above normal, leading to masculinization in female, feminization in male, and atrophy of gonads in both sexes. Hormones of medulla. It secretes the 2 hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline, which are responsible for the vital activities occurring in the body when the individual is subjected to emergency situations as in fear, fight, and excitation, and during muscular exercise. These 2 hormones increase the sugar glucose level in the blood by increasing the breakdown of glycogen, stores of liver, and glucose, increase the rate and force of contraction of the heart, increase blood pressure. All these changes enable the muscles to take their demands of energy needed for contraction, increase the rate of oxygen consumption as well. Fourth, the pancreas. It is the mixed gland, as we mentioned previously, with the exocrine and endocrine secretion. Observe now the structure of pancreas that demonstrate the duct through which the pancreatic juice is secreted. Also, observe the Langerhans islets that secrete insulin hormone and glucagon hormone from alpha and beta cells. I think it is very clear on the screen now. The exocrine secretion in the form of pancreatic juice secreted from the pancreatic cells through pancreatic duct into the duodenum. And also, it secretes hormones directly to the blood from a group of cells called islets of Langerhans, which contains two types of cells: alpha cells, small in number, and secrete a hormone called glucagon. Also, beta cells represents the majority of cells and secretes the hormone called insulin. The two hormones are responsible for regulation of glucose level in the blood and keep it constant at levels ranging from 80 to 120 milligram per 100 centimeter cube blood. The function of insulin: the insulin decreases the glucose level in the blood through, number one, it stimulates the oxidation and utilization of glucose by cells, as it is important for transport of all monosaccharides except fructose. Focus on this point, except fructose, across the cell membrane. It stimulates the conversion of glucose to glycogen to be stored in the liver and muscles or to lipids. Decrease in the secretion of insulin leads to a disease called diabetes mellitus, characterized by disturbance in the metabolism of carbohydrates, glucose, and lipids. The patient with diabetes mellitus complains of increased glucose level in the blood. This will be associated with abnormal secretion of glucose in urine because the glucose doesn't enter inside the cells. The insulin is the key that opens the cells for the glucose to enter the cell to be oxidized. But the key is lost. The insulin is lost. So the glucose level increases in the blood. So great amount of glucose is secreted in the urine. If the physician examined the urine and found even a little amount of glucose, this indicates the patients of diabetes mellitus. With the excretion of large volume of water. But why excretion large volume of water? Accumulation of glucose in the blood, increase osmotic pressure of the blood. This leads to moving water from the cells toward the blood. So the osmotic pressure of the blood increases, and there are great amount of water moves through the bloodstream to the kidney unable to reabsorb this water. So the person suffers from excessive urination, or called micturition. Function of glucagon. Its action is opposite to the action of insulin, where it increases the glucose level in the blood through stimulation of the converting of glycogen to glucose. This occurs only in liver. 6 glands, the gonads. In addition to the main function of gonads, ovaries, testes, and producing gametes like ova and spermatozoa in male. They also produce and secrete a group of 6 hormones responsible for growth of genital organs and the appearance of secondary sexual characteristics. 6 hormones, in fact, is steroids. Male sex hormones, also called androgens, and secreted by the interstitial cells of testes. Male sex hormones are testosterone and androsterone. They are responsible for the growth of the prostate gland, vesicula seminalis, and the appearance of male secondary sexual characters. Female sex hormones. 3 hormones are secreted from the ovary. First of all, estrogen. It is secreted from the Graafian follicle of ovary or from placenta during pregnancy. It helps appearance of female secondary sexual characters, such as the increase in the size of breasts, and regulates the menstrual cycle. Progesterone. It is secreted from the corpus luteum of the ovary, and it is important during pregnancy as it regulates the vascularity of the uterine wall and prepares it to receive the embryo. In addition, progesterone is responsible for the changes taking place in mammary glands during pregnancy. Relaxin, secreted from the corpus luteum, placenta, and uterus. It causes relaxation of pubic symphysis of the pelvis at the end of pregnancy to facilitate the process of delivery. The last one, gastrointestinal hormones. In addition to the exocrine function of the mucous membrane lining alimentary canal and alimentary glands as well, it secretes also a group of hormones which regulate and stimulate the different parts of alimentary canal to secrete their digestive juices, as you studied previously in the former year, in the second year. Examples of these hormones: gastrin, secreted from the stomach wall; secretin and calcitonin, which are secreted from the interstitial wall and the intestinal wall as well. Now we're going to study and focus on some important questions. Give the scientific term. Group of regulatory proteins which are formed by ductless glands and are secreted directly into the bloodstream. Very good. It is called hormones. A hormone secreted by the anterior lobe of pituitary gland and controls food assimilation. Well done. It is the growth hormone. A hormone stimulates the storage of glucose and glycogen. Very good. It is insulin. A hormone, its secretion increases in case of fight, fright, and flight. Well done, it is adrenaline. Choose the hormones which keep the balance of sodium and potassium constant in the body as secreted from pancreas or cortex of adrenal gland or parathyroid gland. Excellent, it is cortex of adrenal gland. Rewrite and change the underlined words. Islets of Langerhans secretes cortisone hormone. The correction, cortex of adrenal gland secrete cortisone hormone. Very good. Parathyroid gland secretes insulin hormone. Well done. Pancreas secretes insulin hormone through beta cells. What happens if deficiency of growth hormone secretion before puberty? Very good. It is dwarfism. What is the role of human insulin in the human body? Very good. It eliminates the excess glucose to be absorbed as glycogen in the liver. What happens if parathyroid secretion decreases? Well done. The calcium level decreases in the blood. We have studied in this lesson the pancreas, the suprarenal gland, and the sex glands. All of these has many functions to do. We have to focus on the comparison between the opposite hormones like insulin and glucagon, mineralocorticoids and glucocorticoids as well. You have to bear in your mind as well the scientific terms. You have to detect each word with a great efficiency. Hormones control the body, starting from the scratch, from the childhood, till it reaching senility. I think it is very interesting to know more about hormones. That's all for tonight. This is Termination. Thank you for joining us. Till we meet again, wishing you all the very best. Have a very good night.